Buttons pressed. Ooh. Tuck, tuck. Yeah, I don't want to have my own stream preview. That would be kind of stupid. Okay. Okay, that was fucking stupid. Hey.
Hmm?
Hi.
Hey. What's up?
What up?
I'm listening to the recording of you guys being drunk.
Oh, you're still listening to that?
Nah, I'm listening to the old one, the one with Daniel being completely
Oh, the one with
shit-faced.
Daniel being absolutely shit-faced.
Yeah, you behaved like an asshole.
Huh?
You behaved like an asshole. I hate you because you always win with the asshole.
Well, that's... I suppose.
Have
Also,
you been
fuck
drunk?
my
So
hair.
I don't know.
Huh?
It's kind of funny to listen to.
Well, yeah, he's funny if he's absolutely shit-faced. Like, he sounds funny, I'm just very inaudible. I'm absolutely horrible. Like, I didn't realize until I listened to the recording, and then I was just like, what the fuck? It was so bad. Oh. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call green lines. A lot of green lines. And yes, this is all the same sample set. This is all normal custom one. It's pretty bad. Like, I mean, look at this. This is barely. Is it even 2 minutes? It's not even 2 minutes. This is like 1 minute 40 seconds, and I got like these many points things. Which is how many? I'm not sure. It's not telling me. Let me look it up in a Word document. Let me check this in a Word document. Extras. How do I check this? I don't know how to check this. Alpha. Alpha. Go fuck yourself. I'm trying to find out how to count the amount of lines that I have in this Word document, just to get like a feeling for how many fucking timing sections I put.
TXT file the vc-l on it in a bash.
What?
We need a Linux system to count lines easily. Unless the program can do it.
Well, I don't. Well, I don't Linux. I don't do that.
Send it to me and I can count them for you.
Okay, sure thing.
I have programs to count them. I'm not gonna count every fucking line.
Count them by hand. I trust you with that.
Send me the document.
Fine, I'm gonna send you the
Hold on,
document.
hold on. Where is it? Where the fuck did it go? Did you remove the comment?
Yeah, wait, I'm gonna send it to you again. I need to put it in a document because Skype has a maximum amount of lines that you can send, which is...
I have this called Sublime Text. It works really well and it counts lines for you.
Yeah, this programming thing. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, and this is pretty much foreplay, I suppose.
What?
Foreplay as in, I'm
468 lines of text, 469 text in total. Oh, 469 lines in total.
okay. That is 469 green lines for 1 minute 40 seconds of map. That's pretty brutal.
It is.
So basically, I have like 4.2 or something volume changes per second in the song. Oh, that's horrible. I hate myself. But yeah, what I meant by foreplay was basically that before I start, I kind of want to have at least, like, give people at least that little bit of a chance to actually be there for potential recapping purposes. As in, I will just do the mappy thing, and I don't want to look at what I did like 20 times just so that everybody sees it. So it's like, but yeah, chapeau. Let's look, because I need to get the feeling back for it. Let's face it. You should always recap your map before you like start it again in a different session. Well, not always, but like most of the time it's probably advisable. And I'm still conflicted about using whistles in this. Like, it could be really good, but it's also like, maybe it's too sharp. I'm not sure how well it works with the volume changes that I'm doing. So currently I'm like on an either or level, and I'm using them only for section finishes. Also, this map is way more jumpy than I would have thought it would turn out to be. Which is not a bad thing, it's just that is not what people would expect from a DragonForce map, I suppose. At least by classical standards. I think Last Journey Home should have like broken that a bit more open though. Because that space, that one was not bless you like at all. And this is where we at. And by where we at, I mean, yeah, gotta do more. Now comes the fun part of mapping, the part where you don't really know what exactly you are doing, so you skip back and forth to see what exactly it was, on which criteria you based what you were doing. Okay. What's wrong with you? Grill? What are you doing?
I'm listening to you and Daniel being drunk.
I wasn't drunk. That was before I was here. I didn't drink before I was here. It's just him being shit-faced as fuck.
Fine.
What? What?
Be a quiz.
A quiz?
I'm kidding.
Sure, give me the quiz.
Later.
Give me the quiz, bae. For fuck's sake. Don't want this. Don't want this like that. Kind of want this to touch that thing more, but then it's like becomes like this, and I don't want that. I guess the hit burst works out. No. Oh yeah, wrong skin. Stop playing song. Stop playing. I want to do this with this skin, the best of skins, because it's the best. Because that's how things work. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. This and there. Copy, mirror. Fuck. No, this doesn't work. Okay, fuck the copy mirroring, which is using the same spacing. It's going to have to be sufficient for now. So yeah, hello peoples of the internet, or whatever. What did I... Okay. Yeah, this is going to work out, I think. Slightly more down here, because we don't want this to touch the HP bar. No matter which kind of ridiculous hit burst you're using. Or simply because I'd rather see most of the object in editor itself. Because otherwise it's kind of meh. You can only shove it up so far anyway, so it's like it's more reliable to keep it within the grid. Except for slider endings. Slider endings you can have out of the grid, and I don't really mind that, but preferably keep it to the side. Because you know, you don't really have to complete them anyway. And at least it gives the feeling that the playfield is bigger, so it stretches your map more horizontally, so that's fair enough. I can't increase the volume in edit anymore. I missed that. I missed this feature where you could do that. No, this thing is not the most snappy slider I could do or entry into the next combo, but I guess it's okay. Simply because we get the contrast here, because we have the snap from 4 to 5, 6, 7 into the 8, because we basically have the back and forth here. So this becomes a lot more pressured, since there's a lot of shape-ish contrast. Is there a word for this? Is there a word that is equal to angular just for shape? Shapular? This is fucking retarded. And then we put this like, how far is this up? Just like that. And this is the part where it gets annoying because you can't see the follow points underneath the slider. Not really, at least. Okay, that should be enough. Hello, united person in the chat that happens to be half Japanese spelled, half English spelled in their name, and hi. It is like I must admit, considering that the viewer numbers shot up pretty quickly, which I still don't think is something I should expect. It is surprisingly quiet. Just saying, if you want to ask anything, like be that related to the map or whatever else, except for like maybe my genitals, you can do that usually, and I will just tell you, or I will give you a reaction at least. And if you want me to give a comment on the map, something that maybe I could know, then I can also do that. Because, like, let's face it, if I just spent all the time in edit on this one map, it's doable. Let's put it like that, it's doable. But it's not pretty optimal. It's okay. Let's put it like that. But I would prefer to have a little bit of a mix-up of things. Hello more people, which I presume would come from the subreddit or something. I can't really tell. Am I using higher volumes for those? I'm not. Okay, fair enough. No higher volumes for the strong guitar things. The finish hit sound will be sufficient. We don't necessarily want both all the time. It would be a little much. Because as I said before, this map until now has an average of like 4.2 green lines per second that is mapped. And that's a fuckload. That's a lot. Up, down, down. Up, down, up, down. Okay, up, down. Eloquence level dropping rapidly. What? 1.25. Maybe. I'm not sure if that gives enough pressure. If it does, which I don't suppose. I mean, the idea that I'm currently having is because the drum is basically rolling downwards, I get the strong angle on 2 here, which is a contrast to 5, 6, 7, 1, because those are jumpy and snappy to the left. I mean, alternatively, you can just play them like a wave, which also works, but like, the idea is I'm doing that. And then you get the back snap onto the triple, that is 2, 3, 4, which is pretty strong as a contrast, simply because it is in like 1.1 spacing rather than 2.5 now. And it basically forces you into another kind of play style. So then you would have that, which is one forced movement backwards. Actually, let me just do this. For better explanation, I'm just gonna do the paint thing. So, you have this. Into this, into that, which works like somehow like that. Somehow. I mean, alternatively, you have the pure snap version, which is like talk, talk, and then there. Also, fuck the little green line. So you have either one of those versions. But no matter what you do, you are forced to snap onto the 2 here in a way that does not work with the blue line. Like, it doesn't work with the blue line at all. And even with the green ones, it's still pretty much a strong contrast. And after that, you basically only have one choice, because you're now in this screen region that is basically here. I mean, sure, you have a choice, but like, naturally, at least from my own experience, which I do trust quite a bit, you get more of a smooth angle here, like instinctually. and that gives you a strong contrast. Like even if you use the full flowy blue line before, you will have to use a full snap onto 2 and then roll down again, which means you have 2 sharp turns here. You have the turn from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 7, and that makes it a lot more pressured than the spacing alone would make it. But I'm not sure if this is the optimal version to do it yet. Because, well, let's face it, I didn't really put time into it. And there's that. Okay, works. Works fine. I'm so good at this game. Yeah, no. For fuck's sake. Also, this auto stacking can be a little annoying because when you want the first node to be on some place and then add multiple nodes on top, then offsets the thing, so you need to do it manually. That's pretty annoying, but in many cases the new auto stacking thing is pretty helpful if you get the hang of it. Like at first it annoyed me a lot. Like a lot. Considering to do like a bow over here right now. Either a bow over there or just going upwards again and then snapping down. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do the upwards thing. My running chain of DragonForce maps? I mean, I understand why the public perception is like that, simply because those are pretty much my biggest hitting maps when they get ranked, but the simple fact is I've mapped 2 DragonForce maps in the last 2 years, which is Last Journey Home for 2014 and Heroes of Our Time for 2013. I usually just map one of them a year. It's like, I just take ages to I take ages to get them ranked because they're just so long. Shush. Stop snickering. Either yeah, I'm mapping this 1 year after Last Journey Home. Like legitimately. Even I think 1 year and half a month after it, basically. And that is a long time, if you think about it. Considering how actively I used to map. And I didn't really do a whole lot this year. I think I did 2 maps. Like 2.5 diffs, basically. But yeah, what made me start this, I'm not sure. I liked the DragonForce maps before. Like I first got to know them through a web radio show. Well, not show, but like on a World of Warcraft website. They had an internet radio thing, basically. Like a broadcast, actually, but like they had a schedule and everything, and they would have music shows and everything as well. So that is what I initially got to know DragonForce through. I think it was called Radio Wow Scene or something. And that was in 2008, I think. That's what I got to know them through at first. And I liked their songs. They were pretty long and different from what I was used to, because thing is, let's say the kind of music that I was used to was what my mother listened to, which would be Linkin Park and like yeah, Linkin Park and a lot of chart music, and it was horrible. So I was pretty glad I heard something different for once, and I liked them. And when I first saw Lesu's, or Lester's, I actually prefer calling him Lesu, but Lester. When I first discovered Lester's maps in 2011 on Osu, which was like 2 or 3 months after I started playing the game. Those were pretty much the hardest maps in the game back then, along with Band Together, which nowadays may be more well known for Sentenced to a Lifetime Forever. Sentenced to a Lifetime in Jail Forever. Sorry. Because thanks Pappy for the percolates. Oh, percolates, percolate. Alba, I need your Nordic expertise. Say the Finnish curse word.
Perkele.
Come over here and say it again.
It's just one word. Why?
Say it.
Perkele.
Thank you very much. I was just trying to explain something. Either how. Oh. It was a pretty bad pun. But either way, thanks to Peppy's chat filters, Band Forever is now not really known anymore. Also because it's old, but that's a side note. And the DragonForce maps were pretty much the hardest stuff that was around back then, and the only real actual dedicated stream maps, except for DJ Pop's Marissa ones, which were old. Like, they were old even at the time. They were from 2007 and 2008, I think. And that was like the only stream maps that you knew. The 2 Marissa maps, Mendez, and what was the other one? Shonen A, I think. Yeah, Shonen A. And then there was Himiko, but that is not really a stream map. It's more like a 1/4 spam kickslider map. That is horribly offbeat. So those were the only stream maps, so that was something very special to see. Specifically since it used, like, it also had jumps. And it had a strong pattern by pattern basis of things. Like Lesu, as I will just call him Lesu from now on. He mapped a lot on a pattern basis, I think. Like, the harsh angles in his maps wouldn't be object to object, basically. Like, you wouldn't have things like that on maps that he made. Like, he wouldn't do it like this. This is not what he would do. At least not back in the day. I don't think he's ever done anything like that. But like, the maps he would make would have like some sort of more circular approach to things. Like, not necessarily like this, but like, you could have, let's say, 4 nodes here, then you had a slider there, had another one here, and then you would have the strong angle on the new combo and the jump on the new combo. And that was pretty authentic, because you then had a much stronger sense for when the instrument actually shifted in tone. Because these were pretty consistent, 1 to 5, for example. That's pretty consistent. There's not a big angle, not a big change in distance spacing or anything. You don't snap those notes. Because, well, why would you snap them if the instrument is playing at the same pace? And a very good map to illustrate that would be his Cigarettes in the Theater map, which I will now put up on the stream. Because it's a really good map. It's pretty much one of my favorite maps ever. Like, you see, there's not really a dick ton of jumps yet. I mean, this is the intro, sure, but like, the spacing is pretty monotonous. It's not, like, it doesn't feel very monotonous, to put it like that. It just feels very consistent. And the pressure wouldn't be through snaps. Like, when you see those slider jumping patterns, for example, that's basically the only times you would use a lot of spacing and comma sections. And this section, for example, is pretty like linear in terms of spacing. It's pretty much just 1.0, and then it has, after every comma, it's like a 1.4. Very good map. Go play it. That is a map you're supposed to play. At least once or twice. And like big aspects that I found to be pretty impactful in this map. Not as in like super like groundbreaking, but like it's so clean. It's so clean. And the pressure isn't like the pressure isn't generated through a lot of force, so to speak. You have these straight lines during the solo, for example. Like he will change into exactly that blue line there. Like that one or that one. Those straight line patterns on when the drum goes 1 2 2 1 2 2. Those I felt very pressuring because they basically take the speed out of your movement on the doubles. And so even though it's still the same spacing as the rest, it plays a whole lot different because it's basically more an object to object basis, but it doesn't look a whole lot different. It feels visually consistent, and it's also consistent in the terms of shaping that he uses, but through that consistency it becomes so much more pressured, if that makes any sense in this case. Because you have to pay so much more attention to this one aspect, that is, there's actually 2 notes on that place. And the new combo that shows stuff, obviously. And that is a map I really like. And the style that Leslie would use for his maps in general was something I wasn't used to. It was much less clunky than anything else, and I really liked that. Because it just really felt very clean and calculated. I'm not sure if he actually calculated those things, like calculated as in intended for all of them to be exactly like they are, but to me, even 4 years later, they're still just about flawless. Not entirely, but like 99%, which is something I have not found in any other mapper except for maybe Sprosive. And Sprosive likes to go overboard a lot of the time. And also maps a lot of different songs. Like very different ones, I mean. So yeah, that's that. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, we are playing the fun game now. Yeah, we are playing the fun game now, where we type down timestamps so we can copy sections. Because that is part of mapping, sadly. Okay. Do we have this? Okay. Until here is what we want. That should be correct. And now we just gotta check, does this have the timing section on the beat? It does have it on the beat and not 1/4 before that, so because otherwise we would need to fuck up a lot of things. So we basically, actually let me paste this somewhere else. Okay, good. I'm still on also window. Okay, I'm on also window. Can I do this? Okay, OBS, go out of the way. Does any of you know how I make the OBS window not display on broadcast? Because that is an important point. Also, yes, the inherit sections are to make it so that on the strong snare beats in the song, I also have a strong snare in the map. And because a slider end is not clicked, for example, I want all slider ends to have lower volume than their starts, because I don't want them to be on the main rhythm, but only on the background rhythm, and that's why I don't want them as strong, because it helps with keeping focus and visualizing or audializing, I guess, what the song is actually doing, and it makes it just a lot more consistent and Also pretty well thought out, I would argue. Okay, now the fun game is that we have to do this, and because OSU editor also immediately selects all the sections, both the ones that you have copied from and the ones that you just copied, or rather created. You have to do all of this manually, which is pretty much not fun. And if you fuck it up once, you can't unselect the same section, I believe. But this is part of mapping, sadly, and I wanted to make a mapping stream, and people wanted to see a mapping stream, so I'm going to give them a remotely accurate representation of what it is that mapping entails, if you want to do it very thoughtfully. I did most of this off stream previously, but it's like I might as well show it at least 1.5 times, so to speak. Because Jesus Christ, this shit is annoying. And if I do it offline, then I'm not going to do anything except for click those lines in silence for like 20 minutes, basically. Over the course of the entire map, obviously. But if I did it all at the end, then that would be what it would be like. And so it's going to be very fun. And yes, I only have one screen. For now, anyway. Maybe I'm going to get a 144Hz screen. Like down the line, maybe this or next month. Probably next month, because sending it here takes time either way. And this was like 14 seconds of timing sections we have now, and there's still 10 more to go. Also, spontaneous poll, is my audio volume decent, or should I talk louder? Should I talk more quietly, or is it alright? And by alright, I mean, is it, as you would call it, perfect, or do you think I should do like one little notch differently? Because I'm a perfectionist, as you may be able to see from me doing all of this. This is fucking confusing, and it's hard to not lose track of which sections you have tagged. But we done. Well, not done yet. 51 seconds, firstly. We need to use the scroll bar, because otherwise it will unselect what we just did. And this is pretty annoying. 692? Is that enough? Oh. I know most mappers don't do this, but I'm not most mappers. Most mappers also don't have all these difficulties. So, that argument sadly does not work for me. Okay. Move all of these 7 seconds back. Then it should be on tick. Yep, and it is on tick. Okay. I'm going to go through a few of the question thingies now, just to explain why nothing is happening in the OSU window. Or rather, I'm looking through the chat because I didn't do this in a little bit, not thoroughly. Should I talk about Grum's maps? I think Grum has very smooth angles between objects, much like Lesu did. but I'm not sure about his maps, to be fair. I don't really know how to judge them because of the genre. I guess I would like it if they were a little more challenging. At least his older ones. I didn't check out his new maps. They feel a little too smooth, I think. Similar to, like, if you mixed Sharon maps and Glass Lake. That is what I think a lot of Grum's, at least older maps, remind me of. And Glass has pretty defined and like pretty defined but clear and smooth flow lines and everything. Fuck my hair though. Well, yeah, I know Grumd has hard maps, but it's like they're hard, but it's different. I usually, like, from experience, my Heroes of Our Time map had like 13 hours of work put into it, and I think Last Journey Home was around 9, or the other way around. Let me check it. I have it in the map description, actually. I think it was the other way around, or like 11 or something. So it's usually like around 8 to 15. Around 8 to 15 hours, depending on how thorough I go on it anyway. Last Journey Home was pretty thorough, but it's like not at this level. In Last Journey Home I muted, or rather lowered the volume of slider endings and slider ticks during calmer sections, but not during the main sections. In this one, I'm doing that, so this is probably going to take me twice the amount of time, specifically since I'm doing it on stream, which means I am also doing a lot of other things. I want this to be a key time. Okay, I want this to be key time. Fair enough. And by want, I mean I did it before. Because wanting for consistency's sake. Regarding whether I could mod maps, I could mod maps, but it's like I'm not gonna type out mods anymore, I think, because they usually end up at 4,000 to 11,000 words, which means I need to sit there and just look through a map and type for hours, like a 2 to 6 hours basically. That's what I'm gonna spend on a long mod. Good night, Venzar, person, faggot. And yes, I don't, like, I don't mean that offensively. I just call people I know on a personal level faggot sometimes. I just kind of do that. I know, homophobic language. Yeah. Fuck that part. Fuck justifying that. But yeah, blaze it, faggot. He's a nice guy. Like, he's actually a really nice person. Just saying. But he lives in Australia, which is a huge minus. Because fuck Australia. It's so far off. Oh yeah, and also to the mapping, the modding thing again. If you wanted me to mod your map, sure. But it's like, I would do it on a call, and I would want to do it on stream, preferably. Oh, the timing window is still there. Fuck the window capture. Fucking window capture is broken. Either way, I have to use a window capture for this because OSU does not capture the game capture does not cap the sub windows, that is the timing and control points, nor the overall difficulty settings, I think. Yeah. song setup panel and timing setup panel are not captured by the game capture, so I need to use a window capture and enable and disable it all the time, and that's just fucking stupid. Also regarding modding, I will probably reference a lot of the points that I posted in this thread a while ago, because, well, that is my thread on what I think is very important in maps. It's relatively advanced things, but that's usually what I point out a lot of the time, because just about nobody really gives a fuck about it. Does this touch that? No, it doesn't touch anything. Am I using the delayed jump? Yeah, delayed jump, okay. Okay, does this touch that? No, it does not touch that, and that is a good thing. Thank you. Where do I want this? We go upwards, and we snap downwards. Then if I did this, we wouldn't snap. I don't plan this map to be any certain star range. I think if you plan for a map to be a certain level of star difficulty, then you're probably doing it wrong. Simply because, well, you're just supposed to map it, and the star difficulty comes out at the end. It's not a perfect system anyway. It's pretty flawed actually, because it doesn't rate slider leniency at all. And so sliders are underrated because Tom wants to compensate for people abusing easy slider spam maps, but that means that maps that actually bind your cursor properly in a slider and have a strict way of playing them are not rewarded at all. Which is not very good. You may add that. I don't like that at all, because it means that my maps are underrated. Because I like to do those things. I like to have a very controlled mapping style. I like to make my maps so that the players actually play them the way I play, like the way I map them, the way I map them to be played. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, it sounds like I'm trying to enforce everything onto people, but it's like, I think in a well thought out level design, which what mapping is supposed to be, like mapping is supposed to be level design. In that case, you wouldn't want people to abuse like your game, would you? Like, say you have an RPG, you wouldn't want people to glitch through walls just to skip one little part, which may be hard. You don't really want that. And I feel like leniency abuse and everything counts into that. Not directly as strongly, but you get what I mean. If you can actively avoid it and make your map so that people are playing it the way it's mapped, rather than playing it in a way that makes it easier because the way it's mapped is not exactly how it's going to be played, even though you can predict the way it's going to be played, then so for me that's not a sign of a good mapper. The map can still be fun, don't get me wrong. Like, maps can be really fun even if they have a lot of flaws. But what I'm trying to do is I want to map maps that don't really have those flaws anymore, because I spent legitimately easily over 2,000 hours mapping. So that's pretty much as much time as people do have on a day job. And I don't want to make the same mistakes on a day job on a day-by-day basis. Because it's just fucking frustrating. And yes, I know I'm not getting paid for this. But that is my motivation behind that. And that's why I'm trying to describe it in this way. Oh yeah, I'm being hosted by Shiro. Thank. I shall host back once. And by once I mean once you like stream something. Not just once. I'm probably going to host you at least 3 times. Because I'm famous and that means a lot when I host somebody. I don't think it does. I still can't believe people are actually watching me do this. And I'm not, like, because people are relatively quiet, I'm not sure how appreciated my talking is. So I would like to have more feedback on that, I believe. Also, generally, more interaction is always welcome. You usually decide where your combo goes simply by listening to the song and seeing where there is a big impact, like when there's a repeating sound pattern, for example. Like, listen to this. You have one sound pattern that goes here, which is the guitar pattern, and then it repeats over at the big white tick. That is commonly how it goes. Not always, but in many songs that is how it's going to be. And that is pretty much that. Like, you're not going to be wrong a lot of the time if you just go by a big white tick by big white tick basis, which is basically a 4-1 beat, as I will reference it, because we know the snap divisor 1-1 is white, 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 and every fourth one is the big white, like by standard, unless your song has a like a 3-4 stanza or like 5-4 and what have you not, and those kinds of songs are just slightly odd. So yeah, that is what I mean by that. That's what I mean. And yeah, usually you just want to listen to when is there a big beat and does it feel like something is repeating, or is there a huge clash in how things go. Like if you have a big pattern where, say, the drummer goes absolute dick nuts, balls to the walls kind of thing, then you probably want that as its own separate combo. And as you switch back to the guitar, for example, you will then use a new combo for that. Now the thing about these patterns is, or rather this black one for example, is that we start out on the guitar. Because it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the guitar keeps playing on the 1/3, basically going like this. But the drummer hits very hard on every 2-1 beat, which is the slider, for example. Which is why in this case we have the 30% increased hit volume, because that just, well, gives it a lot more pressure. As well as the angle here, because as we have learned before again and again, and I will keep repeating it, sharp turns mean a lot. And I will emphasize this again and again and again, because I know it's not always the same 3 people watching, so I'm going to explain it because it's going to be new for at least somebody. And I'm not going to explain it every time, it's like, at least sometimes. So we have this, the smooth angle from 2, 3, 4 into 7. Then we have it that, in this case, you can either snap onto 1, and for which I will use green. You can either snap on it, or you can continue the angle that you had before and try to go, oh, for fuck's sake, that is not the same tool. And try to do something like this or something. What you can see that is pretty awkward because the curve doesn't have a consistent angle. The angle at which you go is pretty flat over here and then increases a lot over there. So because of that being an extremely awkward way to play it, the most likely way for people to do it is to do this snap, which means you have a double snap. You have 7 to 1. You go here slowly and then you snap over to 1, turn back to 2, hit 3 times, and then you go over here. But, and this is something that is to be considered, because you have the next object, the circle that is 6, being up here, it's very unlikely that people are actually going to use this full snap approach in this case, because that means you would have to do another snap here. And that is really awkward, because you then basically go tuck, 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 and instead of anything else, and then you would go here, and then you would go there, and then you would go there and here, and it's just fucking messed up. So while it is possible, and while some people are going to do it, the way that is commonly going to be used is probably going to be like a hybrid mixture between things, which is that you will have a curve up to there. For fuck's sake, I want the curve tool. You're going to have like this angle going there, which is pretty balanced, and then you can just continue it slightly sharper into the next object. Then you will snap again from here onto the next one and continue the thing where you do this through the next slider that is around here and the circle that is there. So you basically alternate between a smooth curve and a big snap all the time, and that generates a lot of pressure, which is good because you always have a very strong guitar and drum beat on the next slider. And I hope that makes sense. You can't see the cursor. Oh, for fuck's sake! For fuck's sake! Oh, okay, I'm going to do it again. I'm gonna do it again. Ah, God. Somebody go suck my dick already.
What happened?
So I forgot to switch the scene in the OBS program, so I did all of this painting, and nobody could see it. Okay, fine. I'm just going to draw the lines again. You heard what I said anyway. And the short version. Smooth line from 2, 3, 4 to 7. Okay, that's a smooth line. Then sharp angle 7 to 1. Usually sharp angle, alternatively super awkward thing with the 7. With the blue color rather. Like either you go super awkward with the blue, or you go pretty comfortably but also fairly crashing in movement with the 7. Then if you use the snapping option, you snap here again. Then you have the other option, which is snap further into the 5, which I am not sure makes sense. Since we have the other circle over here, it is much more reasonable to go with this approach. Being that you have a slight angular, like slightly angled curve motion, and then you will go into a stronger angular curve motion into the circle. Then the next slider circle combo is going to happen around down here, which means you happen to repeat the same thing again and again and again. And because you alternate between smooth motion, like very little angular motion, into very angular snap motion, that gives a lot of pressure to it. Okay, I hope this is cleared out now. Never imagined mapping could be so difficult. Well, it's not difficult to just put circles down, it's very difficult to make a whole lot of sense to it. What is pro mapping? I feel like I'm the most theoretical mapper in this entire game, actually. I'm not sure if that is necessarily a good thing, but I feel like I can explain what I do more than anybody else. Which, well, it's probably because I've been doing this for 4 years. And believe me, I sucked ass at the start. Like, this is not about talent. I was probably the worst mapper to start out with. Oh yeah, also we want these hit sounds here. I think this actually sounds pretty varying and everything. What did I even say? I forgot what I was just saying a few seconds ago. Fair enough. Oh yeah. The hit sounding doesn't feel as monotonous as you think it would be, considering I'm just using one sample set and maybe 2 hit sounds, like 3 hit sounds every like 4 big ticks, which is like, how many hit sounds is this? This is 3, 6, 9, 13 hit sounds. So basically 1/3 of my object, 1/4, is hit sounded, and it still doesn't sound monotonous because of all those drumline snare emphasis thingsies that I'm doing. It actually hits pretty hard. I will like that. Why CS5 and AR9 over CS4 and like AR 9.4 or something? Something is a question I get very frequently actually, and the answer to that is the lower the AR and the lower the circle size, the more emphasis you have on the building of patterns rather than individual notes. The higher the circle size, the easier it is to snap to them, obviously, but that's not just all it is about. It's also like a lot about the visual interpretation. You see a lot more objects if you have a lower AR, so you get the visual cues. Like for example here, you can see that the next combo is going to happen down here, the repeat of the thing. If I had a higher approach rate, you wouldn't even know that 8 is coming up before you finished 6. Because it's just very slowly materializing here. It would be completely invisible if I used any higher approach rate, for example. And while this is not necessarily super important for the gameplay for many people, it's pretty important, for me at least. Simply, like for that little fact that you get this visual cue that is, sound pattern is going to repeat. This is the same movement set that you're going to do again, and then you see it for 7 again, which gives you a lot more pressure onto the objects because it basically tells you that now you have to be consistent with it, what you're doing. And I like that. I like that a lot, actually. So that is why I'm doing that. I like pattern emphasis and combo emphasis over individual notes. The more beat-packed your song is, the higher approach rate you can go, and like that is the same for OD. Higher OD, higher AR, and higher circle size fits better with songs that have a more note-by-note basis structure, which in this one does not happen. This song is very much built on guitar strings following guitar strings. Like, you see, this pattern is repeating like 4 times in a row, for example, the guitar pattern. So it's pretty consistent. And if I just made this into like a YOLO jump spam thing, like this, then that wouldn't really emphasize the nature of the song, which is that it is pattern by pattern, because this is note by note. And for something like this, even though it looks cluttery and shitty as fuck, for this, in theory, this kind of style, if you want to call it that, you need a song that is on a very beat per beat basis. And then higher approach rate makes sense, because then you see the beat as the beat. Only one beat and not the overall structure that is behind this one beat and around it. And that is the main difference. So I hope I explained that properly. And understandably or comprehensively or whatever you would say at this point. This map is currently OD8. I will probably increase it to 8.5 though, or 8.3, 8.4, something like that. Not about above 8.5 though, because the beats don't feel that compressed. Like, the song is not very beat packed because the only real strong beats that you have, as in like really impactful single beats, are those snare hits that you have on these sliders every 2-1 beat. So if the song had a lot more of those, like on a regular basis, then I would consider using OD9, but like this, I'm going to stick with 8.5 or lower. So much talking. Like, what to do here? Okay, I'm repeating the start to this combo, which is not particularly nice as a thing, but I guess I'm going to make it work, because I'm not now going to, because this combo was a lot more horizontally focused. You see? This combo is vertically focused, or at least the first part is vertically focused, because 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8 is down, up, up, down, down, and then with 7, 10 into 1 we go into more like horizontal movement, which means we get the because we got the horizontal movement between these, you get the vertical snapback onto 1, which gives it additional pressure again. What album is this song from? I think it's Power Within, the 2012 album. Let me look it up. It is from the Power Within 2012 album. So yeah, that's what that song is from. And the way, like, what I mean is, why I'm doing these differentiations between these individual combos is, I have one vertical combo, then I want to have slightly more horizontal pressure at the end of the thing, so that I get the vertical snapback into the next combo, which gives you additional pressure and doesn't make it as repetitive, because this combo is more left and right focused, the black combo was more up and down focused. So that gives it variation, even though the set of object is very similar. Because let's face it, I'm doing the same rhythm. Of course it's going to be similar. Yeah. Alpha, that's loud, whatever you're listening to. Whatever you're listening to is pretty loud.
Should I turn it down?
Slightly, maybe, that would be nice.
Okay.
And like until the point where I've closed the headphones, that would be really appreciated. Can't hear anything, that's nice. Okay. Thank you. And now, since the previous combo was further to the right, like we moved from 1, 2 into this, and then that, and then this again. So overall we have a drift to the right and to the top. So we want to do this, so that we go over to the left again in an up and down motion, because then we cover the entire screen efficiently, like over the amount of combos that we have. So we get more cash out of our spacing, I suppose, something like that. You know what I mean? I should get some water. Actually, I don't think I want to do this. So, fuck the leftwards drift. I suppose this will do. Actually, I want this more higher up. What's the spacing? 5, 4, 5, 5, 5. Okay. That should be okay. Yep. Huh? Oh yeah, getting really like hardcore into the deep end of mapping is going to cost you as much time as a day job. That's just how it is. That's how it is with anything that's really technical. It's like trying to learn how to compose actual music. It's gonna take a bit of time. Like, either you do it as a hobby off the side for a long time, or you're very good at learning, or alternatively you just do it a dick ton over years. So yeah, mapping takes a lot of time. So unless you have a lot of dedication to it and want to get rid of another hobby in favor of learning how to map things in a way that makes people despise you, yeah, unless that's the case, don't do it. Like, you don't have to do it. It's not like you can't, it's just, yeah. I guess that's a good estimation. More spacing. Actually, was this thing that's called Osu Stream, which I happen to be on the team on, that was discontinued, which is an iOS app, or used to be, or, well, it still is an iOS app, but it's not really being made anymore, so it's like, yeah. I think people on the team were like RJ, MM201, Deed, Xscore, and who else? Nakagawa Kanon, the DQ, JJ, KL, whatever person. Like, those were some people that were on the team. And sadly, Osu Stream has not been continued since like early 2013, which is really sad because Pappy was actually paying people that would map it. Not a whole lot, let's not exaggerate, but it's like, you could refine your mapping, you could do your hobby, map for a platform that is not standard, and you could get a little bit of pocket money, because it would be like, I think €100 or something, 100 euros per map or difficulty that would get released. So it was something, it was definitely something, it's just, it was a lot of work, because quality standards were pretty high. And I wish he didn't discontinue it, because I really liked the app. I liked playing it, and I also liked mapping for it. I made 2 diffs, I think, in 2013, and like half of one in 2014. But nothing has ever happened with it since, so that's sadly how it went. Actually. Okay, why am I using a slider here? And why am I curling it up? You have a strong guitar note on 4. You hear that, right? You hear that. You definitely hear that. So it's like, it's a really strong note, and it's a hold note, so that's why I'm using a slider. But because it's a really strong note, I'm not going to just make it like this, because then we would just continue or remotely continue the angle that we came into the object with. If I made it like this or something. I know this is off screen, but it's just for an example. If I did it like this, it would have a very smooth angle, which wouldn't really fit what the guitar is doing right now. So I'm curling the slider back into where we just came from, because it basically forces you to snap onto 4 And I'm going to do the paint thing again, and this time I'm not failing. This time I'm not failing. Basically, snap nodes, you have these. And then down here is the important part. That is the important part, because here you have to turn again. And not only do you have to turn the angle at which you're moving, but you also slow down by a lot. Like a lot, because the slider is always at 1.0 distance snapping speed. Because, well, it's the distance snap is a multiplier of the slider velocity, which means, well, slider is always 1.0 and objects are always different. And you go into the slider with 4.72 times the amount of speed that the slider is, basically. Oh, actually, wait. We want this a little more clean. Like this, but yeah, you go into it with 460% speed, then you slow down to around 90% speed, because the slider is not only a slider but it's also curved, so you don't have to move at full speed because you're not going to be in the exact middle. You're probably going to shortcut it a little bit. So you're moving at 80 to 90% speed in the slider instead of 460% which you had before. So you have the factors of harsh angle, the factor of slowing down, and the factor of basically creeping up back to where you came from again. So it's a full turn. It's like a 170-degree turn, as well as a 500% slowdown or something. Or 400%. I know this doesn't make sense. It's more like 90% slowdown from what you had before, like 80%. You get what I mean? You basically hit the brakes as hard as you can while you turn your car around in this sub 1 second. And that would probably get you either highly damaged on the highway or arrested. Car analogies, they're fun. Wait. Okay, this is not the same. As to whether I learned Swedish, now, no. I can read a little bit of it, and every once in a while I will understand the whole sentence, but...
Kan inte svenska va?
A little bit. I understand a little bit, okay? Because basically what I'm trying to get my mindset into when I'm trying to read anything Swedish is... You have to imagine yourself in this scenario where you haven't slept for 36 hours and the boundaries between German and English are starting to melt into each other. Also, because you're fucking drunk as well as tired, you're making random noises every once in a while. Like the ugh. And that, my dear people, is how you Swedish. No, but like, yeah. That's just what I feel like describes it pretty, like, decently. Basically, I just try desperately not to think of anything remotely similar, and then it sometimes makes sense. So yeah. Also, yes, I live in Sweden now with a person that happens to be my girlfriend, which is over there and doing like World of Warcraft things.
So what?
But yeah, I'm in Sweden now. Do I want to do this? This seems so extreme what I'm trying to do right now. Not sure whether I want an upside jump or like a downside thing. Like I can either have it ascending to the end, like this for example, which is probably the better option, or alternatively I could flip that around and make it like a rooftop jump, like this. This is what we shall now call a rooftop jump, because it looks like a rooftop. You get what I mean. Oh. Okay, either way. Also, if Shiro does anything mean, I'm just gonna whip the shit out of her. So there is that, because I can do that here. Also, yeah, I live in Stockholm now, so that is southern Sweden. Southern-ish. It's not super southern.
No, it isn't.
It's more like medium southern to the east.
Seriously, look it up on a map if you don't know where Stockholm lies.
I know where it is, for fuck's sake. I'm just trying to
No, I mean the viewers. I mean, what the
Whoa,
fuck?
did you just call them Jews? No, that's
Viewers. God damn it.
I'm not sure whether they have read that I'm in Stockholm, that's the thing. I mean, it's pretty well known that I'm in Sweden by now, but not like Stockholm, I suppose. I mean, I think it does say that on my profile. Also, yeah, we're going to make this a rooftop jump. Rooftop hike. Okay, and again we are going to do the thing where we have a super strong angle before and wide spacing, and we switch back into small spacing with slightly smaller angle. So we have the back snapping. I want to make this rooftop jump, like I want to make that name a thing. I want people to recognize this as a rooftop jump for the end of history. Until when the world is no more. So that the fabrics of the universe may recall that this is indeed a rooftop jump, even though they will not understand what language is by that point, and I'm blabbering nonsense. It's fucking stupid. Kill me. Please don't. But still, I want people to know this is a rooftop. Elaborate on my opinion on backgrounds. I mean, I think background images are supposed to be a part of your map. They're supposed to be integrated in some sort of way, and or contribute in any sort of way, which could be just the atmosphere, which could be just what people associate with it. Like this background, for example, is commonly associated with DragonForce, and I'm probably going to swap it out anyway, but like, you know what I mean. It's, you have the DragonForce association with this one, for example. And the red color, I think, fits the pretty tight nature of the song pretty well, so I like that. Because it just feels a lot more pressured than, say you have a cool, you have a cool cyan color, which is like, calm down. And yeah. I just think you should put effort into your background images, more like it, I guess. A lot of people just slam it on, and it's, I think, a waste, because it is a pretty big part of your map, or at least supposed to be for me. It's supposed to contribute something, not just be half-naked animal girls to clickbait something. A map for Fury of the Storm. Not sure. It's a nice song, and I've considered to do that before. Maybe I will, and I feel like if I would probably not use CS5, but like 4.5 or something, because the song feels a lot more jumpy to me. Like, feels like it has more strong beats. I mean, I was talking about this before with how this song only has the occasional strong snare hit, and I feel Heroes of the Storm has a lot more individually pressured moments. So I feel that would fit pretty well with it, and I considered it, but like, I'm going to focus on doing this first, and then maybe at the end of the year or next year I will do another one, because like, I want to try and make all DragonForce maps that I make unique in some sort of way. And I think until now I managed to, at least with my ranked ones, and that's the highest priority for now. Huh? So yeah, that's what I mean, I guess. I'm not sure whether this is the best idea to do something. It's like, it should be okay, I suppose. Feels like, has this slight off-screen feeling to be there. But I want this slider to curl upwards into 1 again, so that we can do a more vertical jump pattern. And while I'm at this, I must make it a blanket, because OCD. No, I don't actually have an OCD, it's just, it looks much more wanted if you make it a blanket. There you go. That is a link. Self-advertising to friends. Fucking horrible. I'm very desperate for clicks. Cause I need food. Feed me.
Make something to eat.
No, but I could use some water.
That I can get you.
I must take this off in order to properly thank you.
Bomb.
Bomb. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, talking for hours is kind of exhausting. Yes, I have a massive cock. It's 19 centimeters long. Do you want to touch it? Because that's what I'm gathering.
Keep provoking them.
Yeah, I shall always keep provoking stupid people.
Fine. I don't care.
It's so fucking stupid because I answer these things in such a dry manner. Oh god, that's so ridiculous. Wait. Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. That joke I don't understand. Nah, fuck the whistles. Fuck the whistles, they be too long. So in this case I'm going to make this a bookmark, this new section, because it has a different hit sounding pattern, which isn't too bad. Or actually, do I want this to have a different hit sounding pattern? I probably don't. Henceforth we shall do the thing where we do the thing that is the thing in which we do the thing.
Very descriptive.
Yeah,
I understand it.
that's pretty good.
No fucking clue what you're doing.
I'm just going to delete a lot of timing lines, that's all. Oh. Oh, fuck this thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy the lines from this one, which is 143. Let me type that down. To here, which is not. That's also fairly descriptive. So we do the thing again where we click the things which you can't see currently, but I can't be fucked. It's not going to take me much longer than half a minute anyway, so I'm just going to click all those timing thingies, which is a very annoying task, but I'm just gonna do that now. And then we shall move onwards. Things have been clicked now into the offset. So 1500 for the start, and then minus 115, and then we there. Then we are there. Okay, good. Yay. Just a few but very annoying clicks. And we managed to copy the entire green thingy section. It's very annoying to do that by hand. And I wish we would have like courageous developers that would take greater interest in the mapping community and its members, as to like make their day-to-day lives just a tiny bit more comfortable. Yeah, but it's fucking annoying. It's not 130 through the entire song, I think, or something. I don't really know. Some metronome resets, but apparently it's going to be 130. So yeah, 130 on sixths, which means it is 195 or something, effectively. So it's like typical DragonForce song, just like slightly slower, just very slightly. Pum pa pum. How do we do this? Just like that. Okay. Fair enough. And since in this pattern we moved over to the left again, guess what we're gonna do? Guess what we're gonna do? It was a horizontal pattern, and it went to the left, like to the right, to the left, to the right, something. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do with this? I'm very confused. Very confused. Exactly, we're gonna make it a vertical pattern to the other side. Duh! Slightly to the other side. We don't want to cover the entire screen again. But like, basically we are resetting, positioning a lot by doing this, so... And like that, we can do this and make that consistent again. But do we want it to be consistent, or do we want it to be more extreme? We want it to be consistent, actually. But we could make it extreme. Extreme. It's fucking stupid. Actually, I think I want this one to be... Oh, it's slightly stronger. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So that goes here, then up in there. And with this, I would want to go to the left again. Okay. To the left, then over to the right, and ping pong slide upwards, presumably. I think that's the optimal way to do it right now. Should be, at least. I can't really do this though, so I will need to increase the spacing here, which is something I didn't do before. So it's just like a huge crime. No, it's not. Because it still feels pretty much the same. It's like, me. Now we put this here, and because we can see the follow point in this, very, just like a tiny little bit, we can see the follow point in here, the white bit between, yeah. We are going to move that further from here to like there. And we can move that out of the way to check, and that is pretty much the exact distance that we want it to be. Because it's supposed to be consistent with the snapping points here. And by snapping points, I mean follow points. Also, chat is that. Somebody start like drama. Somebody start a drama, please. I need drama to sustain me. Your hatred sustains me. Yeah, why not? Then we go over here again, I suppose. And from there we can then do more stuff. Whoa! That's mean. No, but seriously, do you think my maps suck? I don't suppose. Shiro just doesn't like them. But not liking and sucking is slightly different. Three notes and the fourth someplace else, I suppose. more spacing. Fair point. Also, I want to make it so that we have a little snap onto something like here, like another close range snap flow thingy reset. Basically, we want to reset the shape that the player is playing by using a smaller angle to the next object. And now we can do like this, for example. But I want this to be slightly different. I want this to be a little bigger. This pattern, that is... Okay, fair enough. Yeah, okay, because this way we get more pressure, like we get a pressure reset on 4 in terms of like high spacing, and then 4, 5, 6 is stronger. My stream overlay was made by a very talented Polish guy that you definitely do not know. I just called him talented. He would kill me for that. But yeah, you know who. Even Alva knows who. At least she could, if she paid enough attention. Huh?
I know who you mean.
Ha! Even my girlfriend knows. See, even a, like, yeah.
What?
She doesn't even pay attention and she knows.
He is smart.
Yes, 4 has pretty much the same emphasis as 5, 4, 5, and 6. But this way we get the small spacing because we have 1, 2, 3 is big spacing. Then we have the sharp contrast in spacing, which also is kind of pressuring because you basically have to reset your playing speed. Like usually, otherwise if we did it differently, you would basically swing back a lot to the left, which wouldn't really alter your speed, so you wouldn't have the actual speed up for 4, 5, 6. Then you would need to make those extremely big if you wanted that. Like we have, fuck, no, that's not what I wanted. We have that. We have this. Then we have that. And then we have this again. Otherwise, we would be having, like if I did all of them in high spacing, we'd be having something like, let's use this. We'd be having this, this, and then I could only jump back to here. Then we would have like this and that, and that's like, doesn't feel well to me. Like I understand what you mean because spacing is like responsible for pressure and everything, but using persistently higher spacing isn't necessarily good because in this case it would just make everything extremely clunky and also very monotonous in terms of how it generates the difficulty. Also, it wouldn't bind your cursor properly. Like, I mean, it would in one way. It's like you just snap everything anyway, and it's like, eh. You don't have any distinction really between 4, 5, 6 and 1, 2, 3, and I think this is better done this way. So that's why I'm doing it that way. Oh god. fuck's sake. Okay. Time to take more timing sections. Oh, look. Advertisement! But like, yeah. I will type down the new timestamps, what I need to copy now. Because fuck it. Does this have it on the snap? No, it doesn't. Okay. Now we need to go here, because the other things are 1/4 before the big snap. Now I enable the window capture again, which hopefully is going to work this time. I shall hope so. Is it? It is working. Okay, fine. I need to move OBS out of the way though. And I still don't know how to make OBS not record itself, which is fucking annoying. But yeah, that is that. Is it recording Skype? It's recording Skype and the advertisement. Well, either way. Just need to have the timestamp here. There's one, and then down two. Come on. Copy. Play the game with the copying. I wish there was a program for this, but I don't know how it would be user-friendly to use, to be fair. It's like such a niche thing anyway. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to have it, but that would be fucking annoying to make. And it is fucking annoying to do right now, like, So if somebody felt it within their heart to make something like this possible, you know, just select certain timing points, copy, and just like select the copies and only the copies and move them to the timestamp where you're currently at, that would be wonderful. Like the first timing point. I personally have no idea how that would be implemented, but it would be really, really nice. 28003. Also, when I'm selecting timing sections, it's the best time to ask me any sort of question. Also, I don't want to have arrow enabled. This is fucking shit. I don't like it. It's like, yeah. I mean, I guess it's useful. It's like, I don't like it at all. Is there any way to enable it only for one certain scene in my OBS or something? Or do I have to do it in general every time? Oh, fucking annoying as hell. Also, I must look extremely absent-minded when I'm doing this. Click, 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 click. It's pretty hardcore. Okay, we got this. They move them by 590,000. No, 459,000. 590,000 would be slightly too much. 78 minus 2. Ta-da! Ah. No misclick this time. This is not something to be extremely happy about, but it's like, Also, yes, that is a plastic flower. I like it. Don't judge me. Where are all these viewers even coming from? Is that because of the the Reddit thing, or is that just because people are actually following me? Okay, 1.5. That's what I want to use here. Can I? No, slightly further. On. No. Game capture is not working. I think game capture is working right now, isn't it? Do I want it over here? I probably don't. And then over here, and then we can do the zigzaggy thing. Left, right. 23. For fuck's sake, this is one of those where you can't see the follow point. Fuck the black color. Okay. Whoa, that's racist. Okay. But yeah, what we get here is like we do this wingy, 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 down swingy thingy. It just sounded so fucking stupid. But anyway. That's the idea behind doing this kind of pattern. 37 should be fairly okay. Yep, that's good. And then we do. Was it 37 that I did? Alva?
Mm-hmm.
Did I just?
I don't know.
Oh fuck's sake!
You just said 37 though, but that was when you said. Did I just say 37? I don't think you did, but I'm not paying attention.
I noticed. Let's do like that's we do basically do a longer version of the slider by compromising a little bit of the angle, but we keep the same like flow-ish stuff going because we now have a longer note in the song, and then we need to move this up slightly so that actually keep the old one. Do we want to move this up slightly so that we have the right spacing on this, because we want this to be like that, and then that feels pretty consistent still. Or do I even want that? No, I actually don't want that. Fair enough. What am I hearing about stupid? Stupid, 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 stupid? Was that referencing what I just said, the weird rhymey thing? I suppose. Also, yeah, you do these sliders by clicking Alt and left clicking, and then you can drag the starting point. The end point is still going to be the same, so the slider enlarges as you do this. Like, yeah, if it reaches the next point where the slider would be longer with the end at that point, it would be like that. I think I want to bend this more. -3, maybe 5. Something like that. But yeah, this node is also pressured again because before we have this down, down, like down, dash through again, and then this, you're anticipating to go to the right here, but you're not, so you go to the top, into the other slider, and that is, yeah, how you're done, like how you're doing that, and then, at least that is my justification behind doing this now. Okay, jumpy, 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 jump. We're nearly at 40% of the map also. Nearly at 40% of a 5-minute map. Jesus fucking Christ. Well, I told you this takes more time and effort than your job. I'm fucking terrible at this. But at least it doesn't pay.
Pays a lot more. That looks a lot more fun though.
Is that so?
Yeah, my job is not very fun.
Not good.
Sometimes it's fun.
Demand for people to make it fun. Tell the company head, make my job fun. Just go up to your CEO and say, look, this is fun. Make this fun. Make it like that. To which your CEO will say, what the fuck is wrong with you? This is also very draining. But I like doing it anyway, so. But it's a less schedulable thing. Like, you can't really schedule this. I don't want to go do the slider down here. Oh, actually. If we do it like this, it makes a lot more sense. Yep, that feels a lot better than if I did the swooshy to the right and then snap down. Because now you have the contrast, left, right, up, flick it upwards, drop out downwards. Push, load faster. I want to go into my push gallery. Thank you, push. Thank you, push.